definitely. One is age. I'm the youngest. I'll be the youngest presidential candidate in 2018. I'll be turning 41 in 2018. So I'll be the youngest presidential candidate, and that will be historic for the people of Zimbabwe. At the same time, I am coming from a generation that has got so much to lose from the election in 2018. A generation that has never enjoyed freedom in Zimbabwe, that expects freedom to be fought for and to be won and to be instituted in Zimbabwe to its entirety and in every form. I am also a person who is inclusive, who believes that no one must be excluded from the thought flow of how we can be able to build a new Zimbabwe with a shared vision and an agreed economic plan for the country. Yes, there is its own economic plan for the country, and there should then be a buy-in from the people. Simple economic principles, not what we are used, the English jargon that we are now used to within the documents like a Zim asset that are mid to super class oriented documents that cannot be understood by even a general person, irregardless of Zimbabwe's literacy, can be addressed even by a general person. I want to make Zimbabwe work again. And Zimbabwe will only work again if we are given a situation that we have transformed our institutions, then we can then roll up our sleeves and make Zimbabwe work. And we can then roll up ourselves and increase our share of the country, our share of the economic cake. That is what precisely, that is the competitive advantage that Gilbert Zikiti has going into the 2018 election. And I want to promise you that I still have much more energy. I do not need to be propped up in terms of traversing the country and the breadth of Zimbabwe. I am prepared to walk the mile. I have been there. I've walked in the country as an activist. I've walked in the country as a leader. And given the chance, the people of Zimbabwe will be able to see that a new horizon is set in Zimbabwe, that a new rainbow is over. I will say, if we are elected, or as we are going to be elected, the very most focus is transformational agenda. We failed to the liberation movement failed to transform into governance. So there's an issue of transformation that must come in. We must transform how we do business. First, we need to have an agreed national vision. We need nation building, not hegemony perpetuation. So if we need then national building, we need to look and craft an agreed national vision as a country that we are already prepared to do and that we are already preparing. An agreed national vision will be able to be an edifice of stakeholder participation from the churches, the students, every sector within the country must be able to come together and say, here is what we have as a national vision. In America, if you go to America today, you can be a Democrat, you can be a liberal, you can be whatsoever. You can be Ku Klux Klan, you can be the black movement, but you still are entrapped within the American dream. So that is what we want. That is what we are fighting for as a political party. So that we must all then be centrally focused on the one vision for the country. If that was to come into power, the Democratic Assembly was to come into power, another party can come to power, but to pursue the vision of the country. So how do we then do that? The issues are around the issue of transformation of governance itself, transformation of institutions to make sure that they serve people, remove the state capture element, that the military must be able to be serving its own people, that the security services must be servants of the people, and not vice versa. That should be the basic element of any new trust that is going to provide when we are in government. When we are in government, we are going to look at transitional justice. We need it. It failed to happen in 1980. Transitional justice also involves rehabilitation of the liberation mentality. You see, this was a revolution People were in the bush. What they were used to do was to fire the gun at the person who was an enemy. And then all these people, most of these people did not receive transitional therapy to make sure that they are now aligning themselves with the new government. Which is why today we even have challenges of people who say the greatest thing that they've done is to go to war and declare that they are entitled to everything else, even the governance of this country, simply because they went to war. So that element of entitlement comes from the issues of transitional justice and the issues of transitional therapy that led from the period of 1980, and it has manifested itself until today, which is why we have got this violent streak that is even today, which has entrenched itself within the system and within Zanu-PF and within any other system that claims to have come from the liberation struggle. Luckily enough, you don't find that much sentiment from the ZAPU element, because they then tried through the Joshua Nkomo in 1982 to have that cancelling around the post Zimbabwe. So which is why we are clear on that the liberation political parties Zanu and Zanu-PF were not prepared to govern the country. They maybe envisaged a situation where the liberation struggle would be prolonged. But because of the interference of the international community and obviously the British government, they found themselves at Lancaster. And at Lancaster, compromises were made. And those compromises, albeit, led for them to be in government when they were all prepared to be government. But that is a discussion for another time. What we are simply saying is that we need transformation. We need to transform even how we do business as Zimbabweans. We need to transform our own view as a people to our own governance institutions, such that they can be able to serve the people. That element of servitude must begin to manifest itself. You do not say, or you do not go on the pulpit and say that I'm a servant of the people when you own 13 farms and somebody does not even own a farm, who is entitled to a farm. You do not say that. It also shows that the element of servitude is so long ago been replaced by selfish aspirations and selfish capital gains outside of from the economic cake of the country. So we also want as a political party to have a holistic look at the national cake. Yes, the national cake in itself. What is your share of the national cake? Before you even partake into it, you are born inherently with your share of the national cake. And it comes from obviously the right to education, the right to health, the right to security services and its protection, and the right to freedom of expression, and the right to association and religion. Those are inherent. That is a person's inherent share of the national cake. That must be guaranteed before you even talk of employment, before you even talk of opportunities of empowerment and the rest. So that is what we will specifically look at to make sure that Zimbabweans once again are saved by the state.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.